Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last session of day one of summer camp here. I know that we've had a great few sessions kind of extending throughout the day. So thanks for sticking around for this last one here. And I know I think Maggie and Ashley will join back at the end to kind of recap and give some upcoming agenda for tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. I'll give another minute or so here just as folks roll in, and I'll get set up on my side. So today I'm going to be talking about the state of Rockerbox, and this is really kind of looking at overall the state of Rockerbox as we've kind of progressed over the course of the past year, and as we've come into summer camp of 2023 here. So for folks that don't know, I'm Rick O'Toole. I'm the co-founder and CTO at Rockerbox, and yeah, really excited to kind of talk through some of these high-level changes to the Rockerbox business and where we're going. So kind of just stepping back for a moment, Rockerbox as a company was built under kind of the idea that we want to help marketers understand what works and what to do next. It's kind of came out of a lot of the experience that both myself and Ron had as co-founders and running Rockerbox for the preceding years, and really understanding the core need of measurement and really understanding what works in order to make decisions. So at a really high level, we've been going through an evolution as a measurement company. So a lot of folks, when they think about Rockerbox, think of MTA as the primary mechanism by which Rockerbox has been founded and provided value to a lot of our customers. So this meant that we invested heavily in that data collection, helping our customers build those first-party data sets that they could use to ultimately track and optimize campaigns and draw key insights out of. And really over the course of time, we've worked with many different types of customers to understand what those needs are, the types of decisions that they're trying to make, and have continued to evolve the product. So I won't go back to the beginning of time, but kind of just rolling back to May of last year. That was our first big launch of warehousing. So we had been in market with a warehousing product for some time, but we made the decision to more heavily invest in our warehousing product. And warehousing for us meant really taking the data and making sure that it's in sync and up to date in wherever our customers are using this data. So whether it's Snowflake, Redshift, any of the major tools where data was core and a key component of them accessing and interacting with Rockerbox data. In September, we overhauled our UI. So for a long time, we've been building iteratively on top of our V2 UI. And in September, we've rolled out our new UI, totally reskinned, and we've gradually been migrating over the majority of those components into our latest and greatest UI. And really, the focus of our new UI was to rather than focusing on the data, focus in on actionable insights and make it easier and more accessible for people to get quickly to those decision-making points so they could kind of use Rockerbox data most effectively. February, we rolled out a new type of measurement and a new type of analysis, MMM for Shopify. And this allowed us to dig into a new way of thinking about and analyzing marketing data, helping our customers forecast and budget and plan using a different type of analysis based off of aggregate data that didn't necessarily depend on path to purchase or first-party data sets. And finally, in May, we rolled out goal-setting functionality targeted specifically at channel managers, helping them perform those day-to-day optimizations against campaigns and move towards very specific goals that might come from those budgets that you're setting or forecasting looking forward to make sure that we're able to scale up and scale down efficiently. So kind of just looking at this slate of features, it seems a little bit like a hodgepodge, but I'll kind of go through this a little bit more specifically of how all of these features tie together. But Rockerbox has been evolving to make sure that we're able to be that platform that's able to support data-driven marketers in all of the ways that they're attempting to make decisions around their marketing. So really the work that we do is targeting all of these different categories. Specifically, what we've seen and what we've experienced from working with all of our customers over the course of the last 4 years has been that different marketing orgs have different needs when it comes to making data-driven decisions. Some of them are looking for help and assistance with the data aspect of this. So this could be the collecting, the organization, the processing of the data. And others are looking for help with making very specific decisions about their marketing. So where to allocate, where to optimize, when to invest in specific channels. And there are a lot that are looking for both. So some customers are looking for both help with the data and the decision making. And decisions really can't necessarily be made without having that strong data foundation. So what Rockerbox is really trying to do is be an offering that allows us to work with marketing orgs across a wide array of different problems that they're experiencing to make these data-driven decisions and simplify that product offering so that it's clear specifically the value that when a customer is working with Rockerbox, where are they getting and how are they getting that value from us? So at a very high level, today, when someone thinks about Rockerbox, it has traditionally been based off of a first-party approach to marketing measurement. This means that we go and on behalf of our customers, we pixel a website and collect information for individual user behavior in order to help us paint a strong picture around what historically has happened with marketing and to help customers make decisions about the future. This has required us to build a lot of different pieces of technology along the way. So we needed to build pieces of technology around collecting that first party information, collecting third party information from advertising platforms, e-commerce platforms, building specific ways of synthesizing this information together so that we have a complete path to purchase, making recommendations off of it, making it accessible to our customers. But what we found is that different customers have different needs with this data set. And ultimately, we want to make it so that as we continue to expand and as we continue to look forward to the opportunity of helping marketers make these decisions, that we're pairing the specifics of the analysis that we're providing or the data that we're providing with the value that individuals are looking for. So whether this be help collecting their data or help assembling that first party data set for certain customers, or helping them forecast, or helping them make recommendations around optimizations that they could be making on specific campaigns. We really want to streamline the process so that it's clear when a customer is working with Rockerbox what value they're after, and make it so that you're essentially buying and creating the value that you're looking for when you're engaging with Rockerbox. Yeah, so the big idea behind this is really to align that offering that we have with the value that we provide. To specifically get into a focus around the functionality that an individual brand needs to be data-driven in their marketing. So if they're focused in on data, making sure that it's clear that the data product that we're delivering is the thing that's front and center. Or if we're helping with forecasting or optimization, making sure that forecasting or optimization is front and center. And ultimately, our goal in this is to be able to offer more functionality around being a data-driven marketer. So we want to make sure that we're preparing the right analysis that helps marketers make the right decision around their marketing. And specifically, this has manifested itself in a bunch of different ways, but it's enabled us to focus in on very specific problems for channel managers, for CMOs and other folks to have different analysis that might be informing different parts of the decision-making process as it pertains to marketing. So really what this looks like, and if I just go back a slide, what we've described here is a few different product lines, being collect, track, exports, forecast, optimize. But really these are just names on top of what the platform does today. But for us, we're really trying to break this down and make sure that each of these is providing the value, and it's clear in the way that we articulate and provide this value back to customers. So the way that we've thought about this is there's a handful of data-centric product lines that customers use to essentially create these clean first-party data sets to have analysis-ready aggregate data sets from advertising platforms, e-commerce platforms available within their tools of choice. And also that third-party data that might be useful for industry benchmarking or other ways to help folks measure themselves. And I guess all of this comes together in a way that essentially what we're trying to do is create a scenario where all of this information comes together from a data perspective to help customers essentially answer the questions that they have that are most pressing. On the analysis side, we've also broken out the specific areas that we're focused on right now to help our customers make the best decision possible. So in forecasting, we've added on an MMM product over the course of this past year, and this is really taking in aggregate historical data to make forecasts about the future, to plan and budget, and do that at a high channel or strategy level, so that we're making the right decisions around where that that forecasted budget could go if we were to spend a specific amount in a particular channel. Optimization going at a granular level at the campaign level, and then of course journey being the one that focuses in specifically on kind of the user's path to purchase and really making sure that we're unpacking the right insights when we talk about a user's path to purchase. So kind of in summary, these are the product lines that we're going to be rolling out over the course of these are the product lines that kind of exist within the Rockerbox product offering today, but we're going to be formalizing them and talking about them a lot more specifically with very specific value that's attached to each of them. So when we think about collect, it's centralizing your advertising spend and your e-commerce data. Track, talking about first-party measurement. Forecast, talking about forecasting in MMM. And the idea behind this is we want to make sure that as we continue to build the platform, we continue to have the opportunity to add on diversified measurement to the overall product suite so that we're able to pair the right analysis on top of core fundamental data sets with the right decision that customers are looking to make. And this really will open up the opportunity for us to continue to evolve the analysis, the type of value that we're able to provide customers from the early stages of kind of organizing and transforming data at a fundamental level, all the way up through helping with budgeting and forecasting or granular level optimizations and recommendations that would occur within advertising platforms. So this is really what's coming. We have a lot of these wheels in motion. A lot of summer camp is dedicated to starting to talk about these in different areas in different ways. And we're really excited to continue working with customers and all of you as we explore the future of product lines at Rockerbox. So with all of that said, our goal here is to kind of have a Q&A around different areas that folks might be interested in on the state of Rockerbox for 2023, our plans, our upcoming roadmap. So if there's any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat here. And again, thank you all for attending our first annual. I don't know if I'm allowed to say annual yet, but our first Rockerbox Summer Camp of 2023. So there's one question here in the chat from Jason asking, is Rockerbox exclusively built for acquisition marketing, or can it help with lifecycle and retention too? This is a great question, and I think a lot of this stems from really how you want to use Rockerbox. So we've primarily had customers focus in on acquisition marketing, and this is a big portion of where analysis around ROI ends up coming down. Customers really care about that initial acquisition cost. But our path to purchase is fairly robust as well. So when we think about the retention efforts, things like email, SMS, all of these are things that having a strong first-party data set are are really present for. So basically, that strong first-party data set allows us to tie together users as they visit sites at different times, and be able to help assemble that path to purchase to understand where in the life cycle it might make sense to kind of inject additional marketing events. So I think that one way to think about this is Rockerbox is on the retention side really playing a role on the data collection front, helping customers kind of assemble that core data set, and then working with other folks to help activate against that on the retention lifecycle loop. Okay, there's another question here. This one from Lauren. So is our MMM offering for Shopify only? As of today, yes. So currently our MMM product is focused in on Shopify customers. And specifically the reasons for this is we want to create a product offering around MMM that is robust to be able to target in on a specific set of things that we can automate so that we're not going through a lot of manual data collection. But at the same time, we've actually opened up the MMM product offering to a handful of customers that we're working with on a more consultative basis. And really, this comes down to specifics around the way that we collect the data. So when we think about getting a feed of revenue or conversions for MMM, this is one component that's gone into these customers that are a bit more complex. And we'll be talking more about the expansion of MMM beyond Shopify in the coming quarters. But this is going to be a heavy area of investment for Rockerbox. So as of today, it's still limited to Shopify, but we're actually going to be expanding that out fairly soon to encompass a lot more of the MMM opportunity that exists out there for brands that need it. There's another question here from Ryan related to MMM. So talking more about MMM and how it works, and if we're using a standard model across all customers. So there's actually a few different things that go into MMM. I'll talk at a high level around kind of the components that Rockerbox is including in MMM today, and where we're really trying to take the MMM product offering. Similar to the previous question, one of the things that we're really working through is making sure that we have an MMM product offering that isn't something that requires brands to do a lot of work on their end to get a useful result. So at a really high level, MMM is essentially trying to take in aggregate data from historical marketing spend, combining that and using that information to predict revenue and essentially come up with a contribution that should be assigned back to a marketing channel. So the way that I kind of think about MMM is it's essentially the well-researched best practices of everything that goes into building a good model. So this includes things like ad stock or how long it takes an ad or to be effective in market or to drive someone to purchase. All of those assumptions kind of get baked into an MMM model, as well as things like seasonality. So as the holiday seasons approach, there's typically rises and falls. And the goal of all of this is to essentially produce a result that is able to predict the future based off of those historical spend numbers that have been spent in the past. So we go through a training process against this, and I'd say like the standardization in the model is kind of the training process that we go through. So the training process for the model is standardized, but the actual results for MMM and the assumptions that go into each channel are learned on a per customer basis. So when we're talking about ad stock or ad effectiveness or diminishing returns for a channel, all of those are dynamically learned on a per customer basis. So this is a large optimization product that goes through and basically tunes every parameter that goes into the MMM model to match the specific insights that have been gleaned from the historical relationship um, between those components of spend and revenue that have been driven. And our goal with MMM is ultimately to put forth a model that can be used on a recurring basis for customers to be able to use that to kind of plan and budget going forward, and then ultimately, um, use that information at a more granular level to optimize in specific campaigns. Um, So next question here, how are you thinking about AI in terms of actionability for your optimized product line? Another great question here. And at a high level, we've started to incorporate some automatic recommendations that come out of the optimized product line. I think that we're going to see more development here in terms of incorporating AI increasingly more into the platform. So the ways that we think about AI are additive on top of a core foundational data set. So a big portion of the reason why we're continuing to zero in on data cleanliness and the standardization of data that Rockerbox is able to provide is we see a huge opportunity for customers to be able to glean insight in a more programmatic way using AI on top of that data. So we've been continuing to not just within Optimize, but in other areas as well, think about how AI and kind of having a clean, standardized data set will be really powerful for marketers in general to be able to draw insights that might not be immediately obvious uh, from their data, or ask specific questions around their data to get very specific answers that could yeah lead to changes in strategy or changes in optimization. So I think essentially the way that we've been thinking about AI probably goes outside of just optimize and into other areas built on top of a strong understanding of that first party data set that we've been kind of critically focused on for a long time. By the way, if anybody has follow-up questions to any of the questions that are answered, feel free to I believe you can post back in that thread as well. Yeah. There's another question here from Matt. So how does Rockerbox think about incrementality measurement and testing can support MTA modeling / weighting? So this is a great question. We've basically been line of sight to some form of testing in that I think Rockerbox's role in incrementality testing is really on the measurement side. So as Matt asked here, um, what we've been looking at is how do we facilitate kind of interpreting the results of a test and using the results of a test to inform the way that um, customers think about their marketing and the marketing measurement in general. So um, I'd say at a high level, MTA is a portion of this. So really, incrementality measurement can start at a user level. It could also start at an aggregate level, depending on how it's set up. So we've been thinking about ways that we're able to uh, support incrementality from both a bottoms up, which is basically looking at the impact in specific geos and where revenue is coming from an incrementality measurement perspective. So this is something that we believe we're uniquely positioned to tackle in the future, as well as helping customers kind of have the broad level incrementality testing that you might be able to do just from platform numbers. So both of these are areas that we've continued to explore. And it's a related to how MTA modeling and weighting works. We've kind of been looking at a few different things on modeling and weighting, and we actually have some upcoming features that will be available fairly soon that will give customers more granularity and more ability to adjust um, the way that the data is presented from Rockerbox. So being able to upweight or downweight specific channels based off of the result of an incrementality test may be something that is really interesting for folks to do. So that's going to be something that'll be available in the coming months. So this is another way that we're thinking about supporting the results of a test or external results to feed back into the interpretation of the data. As it pertains to MTA data in and of itself, there's a few different nuances to that I don't think that we'll dig too much into today. But really, I think that it at a very macro level, what we want to be able to present is something that allows folks to be able to take those results of an incrementality test and apply it on top of aggregate data rather than at a granular level, because this is really the place where it's going to make the most sense from an interpretability perspective for folks. So let's see. Mark asked a question here. So how is Rockerbox approaching the post-cookie era? And no, we haven't covered this in this presentation. So I think the way to kind of think about this is actually that Rockerbox has been fairly well positioned for the post third-party cookie era for quite a while. So basically, as soon as we've entered the attribution space, we've been heavily dependent on first-party cookies. So what this means is that anyone that's integrated with Rockerbox knows that we either CNAME or A record and basically have our tracking underneath one of those two pieces of technology. And what this really does is it moves kind of what traditionally has been for analytics tools a third-party cookie tool into the first-party cookie space. And first-party cookies are essentially there to enable a lot of the core fundamental technology that underpins most websites. And Rockerbox has positioned ourselves as a processor of that data that comes in. So as we think about like the post-cookie era, really what we've thought about is how do we make sure that we're building technology that fits within kind of the confines of that first-party cookie space and operates in such a way that Rockerbox is never a seller or a broker of that information to other services where it could be used for anything other than just understanding what has happened in the past. So a lot of our technology has focused in on how do we assemble a clean first-party data set that can be used for making inference. So we incorporate things like appropriately tagging and having landing pages with the right identifiers within platforms to make sure that that data is as clean as possible. And we believe that this is really going to be very, very important for marketers to kind of take ownership and control of this data set as they move forward. So with kind of like the rise of Shopify and other tools, folks don't necessarily have the same ability to build those first-party data sets with their own server logs or other things. So this has been an increasing area that we've looked at as area of opportunity for us to help marketers solve, is giving them that clean first-party data set that they can use for whatever purpose they need within kind of their overall decision making for marketing. But our goal is really to have that foundational data set on top of which different analyses are built. I'd also say for the harder to track channels are ones where third-party cookies are really necessary for things like display or video. We've already started to transition a lot of the different pieces of technology there to kind of focus in on different things. So at a really high level, what we've done there is we've started down the path of MMM for higher level optimization or higher level planning and budgeting to make sure that we're able to approach it from a aggregate data perspective. And then we've also approached different strategic relationships with different social platforms and other industry players to make sure that we have good access to what we would consider more granular or probabilistic data that's able to help us reassemble that path to purchase in a meaningful way that customers can still use for making decisions. All right. I'll pause here if there's any other questions that folks might have. Yeah, so I guess kind of wrapping things up here. I know that we have a great day of Rockerbox Summer Camp scheduled for tomorrow here. So thanks everybody for joining this session, and please stay tuned and check your emails for kind of the upcoming lineup that we have scheduled for tomorrow. It's going to be a great day filled with lots of partners taking on a lot more of their best practices and customer testimonials as well of how they've worked with Rockerbox. So really excited for everybody joining, and thanks everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, Rick. Thank you for capping off summer camp today. Day one was a success. We've had 10 to 4, what was that, 6 hours of back-to-back sessions. So shout out to all of you who have been there with us since 10 a.m. this morning. This was a really great event, and we're so grateful to Rick, to you for everything you've shared here, and really to everyone who's been involved. And also thank you to all of you, all the attendees, for asking questions, because that really makes this a worthwhile event when you're getting something out of it.
Just before Ashley goes, huge shout out to both Ashley and Maggie for organizing this. It's been a great day for, I know, all of the partners, all of the customers, and for myself, just being able to interact and answer a lot of the questions. There's a ton of planning and coordination that goes into making an event go so smoothly as it has. So thank you both for all the organization that's gone into it thus far, and really excited for tomorrow as well.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. And I know he's not here, but huge shout out to the third portion of our marketing team, Conrad. He's done a ton. And we have a lot that we're going to share tomorrow too on kind of what we'll do differently next time around in a virtual event. We appreciate all of you who have joined us. And we know that there have been maybe a couple more emails than you wanted to get from Demio and Google Calendar, and we're going to address all of that later. But I know that Maggie has the next session here up on the screen. That's going to be tomorrow morning. Like Rick and Maggie both said, we have a ton of really great sessions still in store for tomorrow. And I'm really excited to kind of see where the rest of summer camp takes us. But as a last reminder, we are super thankful to our gift sponsor, Rad Power Bikes. We are giving away 2 free Rad Power Bikes to some lucky attendees of summer camp. So make sure that you catch the sessions tomorrow. We'll be choosing those winners at the end of the day tomorrow. So we look forward to seeing you all then.
All right. Thanks, everyone. See y'all tomorrow.